Welcome back to our channels, Warriors. We are still growing. If you haven't had your suegra smash that subscribe button, go ahead and have her smash it right now. First and foremost, let me give a shout out to the following Patreons. Big E, Isaac, Esiquel, Teresa, Shwlters, Miguel, Let Our Actions Lead Christ to Others, Grumpy Raider, Jon Wick, and Bid Bad 48. Those are the latest ones to join the Patreon. If you haven't already signed up with the link below, you're missing out. Also, let me give a shout out to the ones that showed love on the live yesterday. The Jabs, the retired CEO, Flish Slayer, SoCal, Esiquel, and Mr. Iggy's. This episode right here is gonna be about, man, this is how we're gonna do this. Hector, isn't it true that at some point, the most influential prison gang members were locked away in Pelican Bay State Prison Security Housing Unit, the SHU? Well, yes, that is a 100% fact. That is accurate, right? So what happened? Are they still there? Are they out? Were you even in the department, Hector, when they got released? Yes. I did 16 years in the California Department of Corrections and resigned as a lieutenant. Okay, I came in the year 2006. Those influential leaders were in the SHU, Pelican Bay. You've seen it on training day. 23-hour lockdown, right? 1 hour to yard, back to the cell they go, right? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. These are decades upon decades, man. And I'm going to elaborate on that in a little bit of my opinion on the mental fortitude it takes to not break in that situation. I mean, that says a lot about somebody. Trust me, to be able to not lose your mind in those circumstances, it is not a small task and or, an easy feat, right? I started at Centinela State Prison, okay? General population, they throw the new guys on the level 4 yard, Charlie yard. You hear the term shot callers on the yard. I often say now that that term is oversaturated, overused, and or like a Hollywood type of word. But I guess you can use the word llavero, right? Key holder. Back then, prison is still prison. Prison still has to operate as a prison. Trust me. Good, bad, ugly, violent, non-violent. Well, rarely is it non-violent, but you understand what I'm saying. Prison is prison, right? You had the green side, you had the blue side. On a level 4 GP yard like Centinela, you have 5 buildings, right? 5 buildings. 270 design level 4. Mind you, we did have 180 classified inmates on that facility, which is kind of sketchy, right? Because those doors just pop. They're not the doors. The control booth cannot open and mechanically close it. Those doors just pop. So once it's open, the inmate has to shut that door, right? So it can lead to a lot of violence, which it kind of did. Since prison still has to be prison, money still has to get made, people still have to get taken care of. Not and not like your mommy would take care of you, if you're catching my drift. Right? You know when you get a cold, right? And they Your mom will give you a nice little, hot cup of tea, some canela with some Vicks on your pechito and on the bottom of your feet, right, in a blanket, and put you to sleep. Well, these homies were putting you to sleep a different way, right? You guys are following along here. Follow along here, right? And if you don't know, ask your homie, what is this fool talking about, right? He'll put you up on game, right? Since you have 5 buildings, right? Decisions got to get made. So who's gonna make those decisions? Who's gonna make those decisions? Well, the people that are on that yard are gonna make those decisions. Well, who are they making those decisions for, Hector? They're making it for the betterment above themselves, if you know what I mean. Okay, they're not acting they're not doing their own damn thing, I'll tell you that much right now, right? They're following suit. With that environment comes breakdown in communication, right? It takes longer for communication to flow from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. Communication can get gaffled up by green side, meaning, hey, you could be sending a kite up north, right? And it can get intercepted, which it often did in C6, AdSec, Sentinella. Oh, look, this needs to go there. This money needs to go there. This person needs to go here, right? This transpired, in my experience, from 2006 pushing 2014, right? At some point, the head honchos up in Pelican Bay got absolute. This is my opinion, guys. This is my experience, guys, right? At some point, they said enough is enough. This is not cool. Let us the hell up out of here, right? And from my opinion, I'm very grateful, and this might even be the first time you're hearing of this from Green. Of course you are, right? There's other options. There's many ways to skin a cat, and everybody knows that, right? They could have chosen a more violent approach, right? Who knows? It probably would have eventually got violent had they not gotten their request, right? But I'm very grateful things did not get bloody in that aspect, right? Because it would not have been cool. Because I was new, right? I'm an officer, brand new, chubby cheeks from drinking beer and eating too much buffet from making good money. So it's like, I don't know the politics, man. I don't know the inner workings at this time. I don't know who's who, what's what. I hear names. I see, okay, right? I told you about the 5 buildings. Okay, you got this guy. All right, okay. But I didn't know anything much, right? So if I would have got at that time, I would have not even known what I would have got for, right? Unless an OG CO partner would have eventually put me up on game. Hey, this is why they're beating our asses and stabbing us. Oh, okay, damn. Oh, how does my eye look, homie? Oh, it looks good. How does mine look? Oh, it looks good, my boy. But anyways, 2014, we catch wind that they're going to release these heavies from the Bay, right? And prior to that, I told you they didn't take a violent approach, thank God. They decided to do a hunger strike, statewide hunger strike. So from you guys out of state of California, there is 30, there were at the time, 33, 34 prisons, all the way up from the border of Oregon down to the south border of Mexico. Everybody knows everybody in the department, right? I know everybody in Sacramento. They be acting like I don't be knowing. I be knowing, right? Texts, phone calls. It doesn't take anything. I told you, background checks. Thumbs up, thumbs down. So, they do a hunger strike. Everybody follow suit. Nobody eat, right? I was a young cop. Everybody don't receive a tray. I don't know what that means, man. All I know is these dudes are not eating. Easier for me. That's less trays I got to pass out, right? I'm telling you my mindset at that time. I didn't grasp the magnitude of what I was actually transpiring. The sergeants would tell us, hey, go into the cells, take all their canteen, take all their food. Well, that makes sense. That made sense to me. If they're not eating, then they shouldn't be having food in their cell because they're telling us they're not eating, right? Okay, not trying to be a dick, not trying to be disrespectful. All that was adding up to me, right? 2 plus 2 at that time was equaling 4. Yeah, these dudes were losing weight for sure. These dudes were getting weighed by medical for sure. Documentation, interviews. A lot of this was happening. I was just a yard cop, a building cop. I was just doing escorts, right? I wasn't doing much. Fast forward 2014, 2015. Hey, that's it. Sacramento agreed. Peace treaty. So in essence, the head honchos, this is actually a good story now that I'm thinking about it because it's making some sense. The head honchos get to be released, go to the Mainlines. I'm like a sergeant, brand new sergeant, my yellow, bright gold chevrons. Look at me, right? I have a dog. I named him Sargy, right? So anyways, so I'm at the time thinking, oh no, oh hell is gonna break loose, man. And after talking to some other dudes on here, I guess that's the type of portrayal that was portrayed, like in the news, in the media, in the articles, like, hey, if you let these dudes out, it's gonna be World War III, right? So I already told you there was already violence happening prior to them being released. There was, absolutely, 100%. I was there for a lot of it, right? Not all of it. I saw a good share. They release them. We start catching wind beforehand who's going to touch down, right? Now my knowledge of the department and politics and policy and everything else is more up on game. So I know names. I know CDC numbers. I'm seeing like transportation records. Like, oh, this person is coming. You got probably you have other prisons calling, hey, heads up, this dude's going to touch down. This is what this dude's about. Kind of where they're from on the streets, stuff like that, right? Like a biographies, a very, you know what I mean? Just a quick reference if you get my drift. You have to understand, there's made individuals, guys that have officially climbed Mount Everest, right? Made dudes. And that's as far as I'm going with that, right? And then there's some that are very close to the top of the mountain, right? But they ain't quite made it up there quite yet. Well, at Donovan, we got 2 dudes. 2 dudes that had not quite reached the top yet. They were very close. They got released from the Bay. I remember I was the OP sergeant. And there was a brand new officer. This was messed up about Donovan too, man. Like everything was backwards. They would send an officer on day 1 from the academy, starting at the prison, out on a hospital transportation run. They sent that brand new cop with one of those dudes, man. One of those heavy, influential dudes. I was like, what is going on here, right? That's why I'm glad I left. That immense stress, oh my God. And fear, yeah, that's like, cop is all scared, doesn't even know what's going on. That dude in the back of the ambulance, that guy I'm telling you about, that got released from the Bay, looked at me and said, don't trip, I got him. I was like, oh, man, dude. So I pulled that new cop aside, and I just gave him a quick rundown, like boom, 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 here, right? Basically saying, when you're out in the public, do not take these handcuffs off, right? Do not take the waist strains off or the leg shackles, right? Don't do it. I don't care if a doctor is yelling at your face to take them off, right? That's kind of just, I had 3 seconds to give this little homie, the CO, like a quick tip on how not to get killed, murdered, or an escape happened during his watch, right? This is going to have to be a part 2, right? I see that it's, this is going to have to be a part 2, and I might even drop it later today. I will drop it later today. With that, stay tuned. I'm gonna upload it right now. Keep pushing forward.